Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Dear viewers everywhere, happy Ramadan to all of you and welcome to another live edition of Ask Huda during the blessed month of Ramadan. Let me remind you with our phone numbers and contact informations. The phone numbers beginning with area code 002-010-2281-5634. Alternatively, 002-0100-246-4583. And the email addresses are ask@huda.tv and gardens@huda.tv. Barakallahu feekum. We'll begin right away with tackling some of the email questions. The first one is from Abdul Aziz Ali. Abdul Aziz says, if I miss the Fajr prayer even though I set my alarm, is my fasting still accepted? Here in this question we are talking about two things. Number one, missing the prayer. Number two, how does this affect the fasting, particularly the Fajr prayer? If the person intended to fast from the beginning of Ramadan throughout the whole month, then one intention is sufficient. So if he overslept, or he forgot, or he did not take a suhoor, the last meal before Fajr for a reason or another, his fasting is still valid because he has intended already to fast throughout the entire month. That would be sufficient. It is not necessary to formulate an intention for each day. Even if it is so, the person's intention is in his heart. Yani, the original condition is that he's fasting, and that's why he set his alarm so that he could grab a drink before Fajr or grab a bite, and he didn't get up. That is an intention. If he overslept or he forgot, he is still fasting. If the person, while during the day of Ramadan or any day of Ramadan, has eaten and drank even to his fill out of forgetfulness, his fasting is still valid as long as he has done so out of forgetfulness. He didn't remember. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in such case, إِنَّمَا أَطْعَمَكَ اللَّهُ وَسَقَاكَ. It is only that Allah who made you forget so that you can eat and drink, but you're still fasting and you don't have to make up that day. So what about if a person is already fasting and intended to fast, but he overslept? Second, concerning missing the prayer and until it got out of its time, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the sound hadith, من نام عن صلاة أو نسيها فليؤدها متى ذكرها لا كفارة لها إلا ذلك. من نام عن صلاة أو نسيها. There are two conditions. Whoever oversleeps or forgets about a prayer, then let him make it up once he gets up or once he remembers it. There is no other expiation or ransom for such sin. It is not a sin because the person did not do it deliberately. That's simply, the kafara would be to make it up soon as you remember. In the hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam once, along with all his companions, while they were returning from a journey, they went to sleep and they woke up with the sunrise, with the sun rays and light. So, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam ordered Bilal to call adhan, then they called the iqama, and they made up the Fajr jama'ah. The Prophet ﷺ led them in Fajr prayer, and it was after sunrise. So this is the proper way to make up the missed prayer. Also, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith, رُفِعَ الْقَلَمُ عَنْ ثَلَاثٍ. The pen which records our deeds, good or bad, does not record the deeds of the following three categories. النائم حتى يستيقظ. A person who is asleep until he or she wakes up. والصبي حتى يبلغ. And the child until he or she reaches the age of puberty. والمجنون حتى يفيق. And a person who is experiencing a condition of insanity or a psychiatric condition which makes him absent-minded, because he does not necessarily have to be senile to have Alzheimer or forget even his name. Sometimes a person suffers of certain attacks, psychiatric attacks, which would make the person absent-minded or unaware of what he or she are doing, or simply due to medication, or similarly due to anesthesia. So any of these conditions, if the person does anything which is forbidden or skip anything which is mandatory due to these conditions, then he is not blameworthy, as the Prophet ﷺ said. Brother Muhammad from Kashmir, why do the mosques insist to pray Taraweeh directly after Isha? Also, is it a sunnah to pray Taraweeh every night? Well, as far as praying the Taraweeh right after Isha, you first of all have to understand that Taraweeh is sunnah. So this is the answer to your second segment of the question. So if you wish to pray it, fine. If you do not pray it, you missed a great reward, but you're not committing a sin. You missed a wonderful opportunity, since the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, من قام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever stands up in prayer during the nights of Ramadan out of faith and anticipating the reward for this standing, for this prayer from Allah, his reward will be forgiving all his previous sins. غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. That's why it is very important. You can pray it by yourself. You can pray it jama'ah with your family members at home. You can pray it in the masjid. So whatever the masjid or the community decide to pray it soon after Isha, half hour after Isha, an hour after Isha, it is the setup which suits them most. Decide to have a ta'aleem or a dars before, in the middle. It is very flexible because these are all nawafil. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Ridwan from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Ahlan wa sahlan, Ridwan. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
My question is outside Ramadan. Can I continue? It's outside fasting.
Absolutely, yes, sure.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ridwan, I hear you. Go ahead and present your question, please.
Yes, my question is on the shortening of prayers.
Now,
If one is traveling.
now,
Now, assuming you are traveling from one destination to another destination, and you know that before you reach that destination, it will not be time for the next prayer. Assuming, for instance, after prayer.
now.
Is one still allowed to combine the prayer before reaching the destination? Or
Okay.
should he only pray the prayer that is due, which will be Zuhur
طيب.
in this case?
Any other questions?
And then wait until when he reaches the destination, then pray the upper prayer. Or can he still combine the two prayers,
Sure.
even though he knows that he will reach his destination before it is time for upper?
Now.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
You're most welcome, Ridwan. Barakallahu feekum. If any person decided to travel the travel distance, according to the vast majority of the fuqaha, it is 3 farasikh, which is equivalent to 83 kilometers approximately. You don't have to wait until you reach your final destination to be eligible to shorten and combine the prayers. Rather, Once you leave the city limit of your own city, you may enjoy that concession. Even if it is just a couple miles, you sit outside your city limit, you leave the town, you leave the houses of your city, you go on the highway, then right away you're allowed to shorten your prayer. And if you need to combine two prayers at the time of either one, as long as the two prayers share the same time, that is permissible. Share the same time, I mean there are daytime prayers and nighttime prayers. You've got Dhuhr and Asr during daytime, while the sun is in mid-sky and before sitting down. So you may actually combine Dhuhr and Asr together with shortening each prayer to 2 rak'ahs instead of 4. You can pray the Dhuhr and Asr at the time of Dhuhr or at the time of Asr, and the time of Asr is extended until sunset, of course, until right before sunset. Similarly, Maghrib and Isha, which are night prayers, past sunset. So you can combine the Isha along with Maghrib, or combine the Maghrib along with the Isha during its time. Keep in mind that the last time for Isha prayer is midnight. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Abu Zaki from the KSA.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Brother Abu Zaki?
Alhamdulillah.
Do me a favor and mute your
I have
TV,
one
please.
question,
Abu Zaki,
about,
mute your TV
woman
before.
menstruation period.
Brother Abu Zaki, please mute your TV.
I am muted, sir.
Okay, now you can go ahead and present your question.
Yeah, I have one question. In the menstruation period, a woman, when she start keeping fast? Because in India, normally women wait for 7 days and then only they carry on the fasting. Can she keep fasting after 2 days, 3 days? Thank you very much.
Barakallahu feek. Abu Zaki, what determines the women's period is the bleeding. So once she sees the blood, she must stop fasting. Even if it happens an hour or a few minutes before Maghrib, that day she must make up. And once the bleeding ceases and she takes the ghusl and she realizes that there is only a clear discharge, in this case, she must observe fasting. Has nothing to do with the number of days, because it varies a great deal from a woman to another. Within the same household, the mother and the daughter may have a different period, from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or even more days. So it has nothing to do with certain number of days. A woman who has a habit of experiencing the period for 7 days, for instance, she knows that it's 7 days, but to take 2 days extra as a precaution, that's not valid. As a matter of fact, that would be considered as breaking your fast without a legitimate reason. Thank you, Brother Abu Zaki. Barakallahu feek. Again, Brother Imran from India. People here pray 21 rak'ah for Taraweeh. Is this correct? Any number of rak'ahs for the voluntary prayer and the night prayer is accepted as long as the community agrees to it. By the meaning, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said in one hadith, صلاة الليل مثنى مثنى. What you need to keep in mind is to pray at night, preferably 2 by 2. Then if you fear the dawn or the fajr, then أوتر ولو بركعة. Pray the witr even if it is only 1 rak'ah as minimum. The ideal is to pray 3 rak'ahs. So if the community agreed that their imam would pray 8 rak'ahs, 2 by 2, then the witr prayer, that is 11, and this is the ideal case. Since the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pray 11 rak'ahs in most of his night prayer, whether in Ramadan or otherwise, he has been reported as praying 13 rak'ahs. At the time of the Khulafa and Umar al-Khattab, they prayed 21 and they prayed 36 rak'ahs, because it's an indication that the nafil does not have a certain number of rak'ahs. But the ideal, of course, as we said earlier, according to the hadith of Aisha radiyallahu anha, is 11 rak'ahs, 8 2 by 2 in addition to the witr prayer. Barakallahu fikum. And that should not be a point of conflict. It is very unfortunate where we see people all over the world, they differ concerning the Taraweeh and the number of rak'ahs excessively, and the community splits. Some people pray 8 rak'ahs and they leave, and others consider this is an innovation to pray more than that. And the community is split, and they tend to have a different imam here and a different imam there. It shouldn't be like that. The scholars of each locality should explain to people that whatever suits them most, if they like to do the ideal way, to pray the 8 rak'ahs. But guess what? The Prophet ﷺ used to pray 4 rak'ahs. لا تسأل عن حسنهن وطولهن. They were very long. They were very beautiful. Why? Because the Nabi ﷺ would recite a long recitation. Sometimes in a night prayer in the hadith of Hudayfa, he recited in 1 rak'ah Surah Al-Baqarah, An-Nisa, wa Al Imran, wal Ma'idah. You know how many paras that the Prophet ﷺ recited? We were talking about 6 paras in 1 rak'ah. Then he said in his ruku' it was as long as his standing and recitation. Then his sujood likewise. So you're talking about very beautiful and perfect prayer. If you can afford to do that, that would be great. If you can't, and meanwhile you want to recite 1 para every night, some people might consider it troublesome, burdening to stand while reciting a whole ruba. So breaking it down as they do in the haram, for instance, or in many masajid, is permissible as well. Remember, by the end, it is nafilah, it is voluntary prayer. It is not something that we should fight over as we stick to a certain number. I myself, in any country I go, if the imam is praying 21 rak'ah, I pray behind him happily, and I give the dars if I have a dars. If the imam is praying, as in Egypt, 8 rak'ahs and the witr, I do that happily. If the imam is reciting 1 para, no problem. 2 in some masajid, no problem. In some masajid, they pray half para, no problem, because whatever suits the community most. It shouldn't be a problem nor a point of conflict. Barakallahu fikum. What battles are fought during Ramadan? This is a question by Brother Khalid. The most famous battle, the Battle of Badr. It was fought in the middle of Ramadan. Then the conquest of Mecca in the last 10 days, approximately the 24th of Ramadan. There are many battles, of course, but these are the most famous battles. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Ridwan from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Huda. Ridwan, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Okay, why don't you try again with the other number, please? We'll be more than happy, inshallah, to take your call. Thank you, Brother Ridwan. Ridwan is a regular caller, mashallah. Brother Abu Bakr from Nigeria. If I travel during the last week of Ramadan and I spend Eid al-Fitr in another country, should I celebrate Eid with them? Yes, of course. Based on the hadith in which the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, صُومُوا لِرُؤْيَتِهِ وَأَفْطِرُوا لِرُؤْيَتِهِ. I believe many of the viewers, mashallah, by now they are fuqaha. They are, mashallah, very learned, and they can actually transmit this fatwa to others because they have heard this repeatedly. صُومُوا لِرُؤْيَتِهِ وَأَفْطِرُوا لِرُؤْيَتِهِ. Once you see the crescent of Ramadan, you must fast. I don't care where you're from. And once you see the crescent of Shawwal, whether you see it by yourself or it is witnessed by others who are trustworthy, then you must celebrate Eid because it is haram to fast during Eid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Ridwan is back on the line.
Low volume.
Naam, Ridwan, go ahead. Brother Ridwan, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Your volume is very low, but I'll just carry on with my question.
Yeah.
I have only one question. I normally, whenever I have a question, I always check with the local Awqaf, and they have given me an answer, but I do not know. There is some confusion in that answer, and I even asked them twice the same question, but I still get the same answer from them. It's regarding the prayers, 5-time prayers. Now the thing is, whenever I ask for them that if I missed a prayer, for example, if I missed Salat al-Asr, and it's like missed when I reach the mosque, it's already Salat al-Maghrib.
No.
And when I enter the mosque, they are already standing for Salat al-Maghrib, and Imam is already reading for Salat al-Maghrib.
No.
Now my question is, as per the Awqaf in UAE, they say you have to first pray Salat al-Asr in order to continue Salat al-Maghrib.
No.
This is what they have told me. Now the question, what I'm asking is, what if I'm in the mosque and Salat al-Maghrib is 3 rakat and Salat al-Asr is 4 rakat, and I am the first one standing just behind the
Imam.
Muazzin. Now, for me to stand up after he says salam for Salat al-Asr, keeping in my mind that I'm going to pray Salat al-Asr and then later on I'm going to pray Salat al-Maghrib, it doesn't look okay to me. It looks very odd to me that being the first one behind him and still standing up as if I missed out some rak'ah. Did you get my question, what I'm trying to tell you?
Yes, I did. It's very clear and obvious.
Yeah, that's my question. I'll keep the phone. Would you hold on for a second so that I can at least hear you on the TV clearly? What will be the correct answer? Again, I missed the prayer. I reached the other prayer on time. And the other prayer rakats are only 3, and the first one which I missed are 4.
No.
So how do I go about it?
Right.
Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. You have a very beautiful program. I've been watching a program for the past 2 years continuously, and I wait for it the whole day till it starts. So alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, it gives a lot of benefit.
Jazakallah
Thank
khair.
you very much. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Brother Ridwan. Barakallahu fikum. Praying the 5 daily prayers in order is a must. And accordingly, some of the fuqaha, such as Imam al-Shafi'i, says, if you happen to enter a prayer with the Imam while you have missed the earlier prayer, you cannot just pray with the Imam the current prayer, or if you pray it, it will be considered as nafl. Then you still have to make up your Asr, then pray Maghrib again in order to maintain the order. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, for instance, in his fatwa, says, what you can do is, you can pray the Asr behind the Imam who's praying Maghrib. Notice, the Imam will be leading the Maghrib prayer, and you missed Asr, so you enter the prayer behind the Imam with the intention of praying Asr. And after he finishes his 3 rak'ahs, you get up to pray the 4th rak'ah. Yes, you're so right, it will look odd, especially if you are right in the middle by yourself, and everybody would look at you, especially the laymen who do not comprehend this. What are you doing? Then you will get many inquiries and questions. It could be good in a way that you explain to people what's going on, because many people know very little about the prayer. And you could seize this opportunity and the Imam explain to people. But if you think you are in a masjid where you're going to cause confusion to people, then step away from the middle of the line. For instance, pray to either end of the line, right or left. So this way, when you get up and pray your 1 rak'ah, nobody would notice. Maybe you're making up a missed rak'ah. That would be smart as well. Let me tell you even more interesting case according to Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah have mercy on him. What if you missed Maghrib, you overslept, and you went to the masjid and the Imam was praying Isha, and Isha is 4 rak'ahs, and your Maghrib is only 3 rak'ahs. So Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah say, this is an exception from the order. You can pray Isha, then you make up your Maghrib. Imam Shafi'i says, according to Al-Jumhur's opinion, which is you must keep the order, he says what you can do is pray Maghrib. Your intention is to pray Maghrib behind the Imam who's leading Isha prayer. But there is a problem. He's going to the fourth rak'ah. What am I going to do? He says, sit down. You may actually recite tashahhud and make taslim on your own, or you can remain seated until the Imam finishes his fourth rak'ah, then comes to sitting down to recite the tashahhud and taslim, and you make taslim with him. If you choose the first case, that will be good for you as well, because accordingly you'll be able to finish your Maghrib and join the Imam in the last rak'ah where you intend to pray Isha. So this is permissible as well. We say it again, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah is of the view that there is one exception from keeping the order of the prayer, such as if you overslept or forgot and you enter the masjid and they are praying the current jama'ah. So he says, pray the current jama'ah with them, with the intention of praying the same prayer that the Imam is praying, then make up the prayer which you missed. This is an exception from the order. Wallahu ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. Okay, we'll take a short break and we'll be back inshallah in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned, please.
College was a blast. Man, I had a great time. As an undergrad at UCLA, hanging around Westwood with my friends. But I wasn't happy. Deep down inside, I wasn't feeling satisfied. Then I found my turning point. Sir, is this Ramadan Academy? Are you still accepting applicants? Can I still enroll?
Today's the last day. What time do I have to be there to sign up? Right now? I'm on my way.
Inshallah, 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 you'll find your way.
Assalamu alaikum, Professor.
Wa alaikum salam.
Wallahi, I'm sorry I'm late. I just found out about Ramadan Academy, and I really want to join.
You came at the last minute. Go register your name and prepare for Ramadan Academy.
Really? All I have to do is register my name? I'm going to go do it right now, Professor.
Turn to Allah, He's never far away. Put your trust in Him, raise your hands and pray. Ooh, ya Allah, guide my steps, don't let me go astray. You're the only one who can show me the way. Show me the way.
Confirm.
Show me the way. Show me the way. Inshallah.
The words of Allah, the Quran, sent to us by the Almighty, so we can hear and obey.
We cannot live our life without the Holy Quran. You must listen carefully to the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because your safety and my safety will be with this great verses of the Holy Quran. We are here in this world for a test, and this test, and you will have questions in the Day of Judgment.
Hear and obey with Sheikh Rifat Muhammad in Ramadan, only on Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. The following question is from Hajira Nazir. She says, can I fast the days of Shawwal with the following two intentions? The 6 days of Shawwal, as well as making up my missed fasting in Ramadan. In fact, you cannot have an overlapping of the intention between the sunnah and the fard. With regards to making up the missed days of Ramadan, that's a fard. It's mandatory. While fasting the 6 days of Shawwal is a sunnah. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever observes fasting during Ramadan, then follows that by fasting 6 days of the month of Shawwal, it will be similar to fasting for the entire year. And we explained before the meaning of the hadith and the calculation, but the catch in this question is fasting after Ramadan isn't mandatory, rather it is sunnah. But if the person was fasting sunnah, for instance, and it happened to coincide days which he normally fasts, such as Mondays and Thursdays, yes, that will make it. He can combine the two intentions because this is sunnah and this is sunnah, okay? But sunnah and fard, you cannot have an overlapping of the intention. Brother Ufuwan Rafiq, he says, is it preferred to pray the first 4 sunnah of Dhuhr 2 by 2 or 4 in 1? There are a couple of hadith with regards to the significance and importance of praying the sunnah of Dhuhr. Abdullah ibn Umar, he said, حفظت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, I have memorized that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم used to do the following practice, and he counted 10 rak'ahs, and he counted 2 before Dhuhr and 2 after. We'll continue inshallah after this call. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Saleh from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Saleh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, brother?
Wa alaikum salam, brother. How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. Go ahead and present your question.
And you?
Great, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking.
Yes, actually I have 2 questions.
No.
And both of them, they are under insurance. And there is this controversy when it comes to insurance. There is Islamic insurance and normal insurance, which I'm actually not sure about it. But recently here in UAE, you have to have insurance when it comes to cars. Now, I took my car, I bought my car, and everyone was recommending me to have full insurance, and I did not accept it because it is not permissible in Islam. I took third party, which is in the country. I have to take it now. And I got an accident 1 week ago, and the person and it wasn't my mistake actually. The person who banged me, he said he won't do anything. And the rule here in UAE, you have to go and claim on his insurance in order for the car to be repaired. Or else I have to repair it myself, and it wasn't my mistake. Now I want to know, is it permissible for me to use that insurance, the person's insurance, because it's very expensive. One thing is very expensive, and also I cannot, he doesn't want to do anything. He just said that now the government is taking care of it, and the rule is you have to go for the insurance. The second question is, again, the same thing about insurance, but it's about hospitals. I live here, I'm a student here in UAE, and I work, but my salary is low, and I cannot bear the cost of hospitals myself. The hospital here is very expensive. I can take an insurance, and almost all my costs will be taken care of, but I'm not sure is it permissible to do that or not. Generally, I know it's not permissible, and I have not, since I came to UAE, I have avoided it to the maximum. But actually, I think it will reach a certain point which I cannot take care of myself when it comes to cost. Now, I don't know, is it permissible in Islam or not?
طيب, barakallah feek. Thank you, Brother Saleh. Okay, let me continue answering the question of the sunnah before Dhuhr and how to pray. So Abdullah ibn Umar narrated that the Prophet ﷺ used to pray 2 before and 2 after. Aisha radiyallahu anha observed the Prophet ﷺ praying 4 before Dhuhr and 2 after. And in another hadith by Salama, whoever prays 4 before and 4 after Dhuhr, Allah will forbid his flesh from being touched by the fire of hell. So, a combination of all of these hadith, we learn the following. The minimum is to pray 2 before Dhuhr and 2 after. Actually, if you pray 4 before Dhuhr and 4 and 2 after, that will be great. And the best is to pray 4 before and 4 after, as it is mentioned also in another hadith. Keep in mind, these are all nawafil, but these are not ordinary nawafil. These are emphatic or confirmed sunan. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to observe them most of the time, and it's for your own good, of course. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in one hadith, Salatul layli wan nahari mathna mathna. The night prayer and the day prayer should be offered 2 by 2. So whether you're praying the night prayer or you're praying the nawafil, the 4 rak'ahs before Asr, the 4 rak'ahs before Dhuhr, the 4 rak'ahs after Dhuhr, the best is to pray them 2 by 2 with 2 tashahhud and 2 taslim if you're praying 4 rak'ah according to this hadith. Barakallahu fikum. Brother Saleh is asking about insurance. Obviously, he's asking about commercial insurance, which is provided by a third party, a company which takes your money on monthly basis, an installment, and it compensates for any accident or damage, whether it's done by you or by the other driver. All types of commercial insurance are prohibited. Yet, if you live somewhere where you're obliged by the law, like we're living in America, everybody must have a liability insurance. Everybody must have so. So in this case, you have no choice. In order to drive, you must have your insurance card or you can drive. So this is a necessity. Just buy the basic, which is the liability, and I'm not going to buy the premium, which covers everything, whether I hit or I get hit by another person, or even if I total my car on my own. No, just buy the minimum requirement. That's one thing. Second, when you got hit by another person, he is liable. Whether he pays you by himself or via his insurance, it's his problem, not your problem. So you can actually report him and have him or his company fix your car. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Rashid from Tanzania. Assalamu alaikum. Ya Rashid, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ramadan Mubarak.
Mute your TV, Rashid, please. We have a lot of people talking with us at the same time. Mute your TV. Thank you. Now talk to me from the phone, from the handset.
Inshallah.
Now. Thank you. Ramadan Mubarak to you as well.
Yes, Sheikh. I want to... Okay. Ask you one question, in fact. I am a new Muslim, and I read to Islam about 4 years ago.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, and so I'm going to ask a question which is out of the Ramadan program, but I really also need to understand this one. Should I change all my documents like passport and all certificate on Islamic name which I have chosen?
Okay.
Yeah, that is number one. And number two, I just want to know about the Jesus, Isa alayhi salam. He will come back. So he will come back as a Messiah to protect the Ummah. He will come back in which form? This is what I want to understand. Inshallah.
Okay. Thank you, Rashid from Tanzania. Congratulations, and may Allah keep you steadfast on His straight path. Ameen. As far as changing the name, we normally say, and I just had an American sister whose question, her name is Jean, and she called on the program and she said, do I have to change my name if I become a Muslim, and do I have to do this and that? I assured her it's optional as long as your name does not mean something excuse me, bad, nor is it an indication of polytheism and so on. And alhamdulillah, she made it and she accepted Islam. Then it's entirely up to you if you want to change your name. So Rashid means wise, and is a beautiful name. Alhamdulillah, you chose a good name. Now his question is, do I have to change my name in the documents as well, in the passport and in the national ID and so on? I remember one of my students who was a priest and accepted Islam, and his name was Ron, or Dr. Ron, mashallah. And basically, he accepted Islam and he started learning and he became a very beautiful person, mashallah, la quwwata illa billah. But he did not change any documents, nor did he write his wasiyah. So when he died, we fell in a dilemma because his wife insisted that he should be treated in the funeral as Christian, even though she was fully aware because he's been a Muslim for years. But there was not a single paper that shows that he is a Muslim. And we tried with her by every possible mean. We failed. So this is one thing that the person have to keep in mind. And the wasiyah is not only for new Muslims. Muslims and non-Muslims. And Muslims and those who just accepted Islam. It is very important to write your own will and wish what would you like to do or to be done to your body and your funeral afterward. So in your documents, if it indicates by any means that you're a Muslim and you should be treated as Muslim with regards to the inheritance, with regards to the Sharia applications, with regards to the funeral, then that is fine. You don't have to change it. If you think you need to do so in order to maintain your right after death, after long life, inshallah, then you must do it as soon as possible and do not delay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Saleh, Brother Nasser from United Arab Emirates, Assalamu alaikum. Naam, Nasser. Raise your voice, please, a little bit. I can barely hear you. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you at all. Can you raise your voice?
What the intention should be made for Tarawih?
Can the brothers in the control ask him to repeat the question and speak out loud?
Now, how many rakats are there in Tarawih?
Okay. Nasser, are you still on the line? Okay, they will collect your question. Thank you, Brother Nasser. The Messiah, Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus the son of Mary, may Allah's blessings, peace and blessings be upon him, and his mother. According to our belief, and according to the sound ahadith, he shall return by the end of time to support Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Mahdi, who is going to lead this ummah towards victory and success against the false Messiah, al-Masih al-Dajjal, and against his followers of different faith, of different fake religions, and so on. Isa alayhi salam was described by the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam as he would descend exactly the same description, the same figure that he was having or maintained during his life. He would descend the same body and soul, with long and curly hair and everything that the Prophet ﷺ described him. He would descend at the eastern minaret in Damascus, and he will find Muslims are fixing to pray, and one of their imams is ready to lead the prayer. That would be Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Mahdi. He would recognize him and he would offer him to lead the prayer, but rather he would refuse, and he would say he would pray as a follower, as an indication that Isa alayhi salam is not coming with another message or with another prophethood. Rather, it is a continuation of the message of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which was also the message of Isa before and the message of Musa alayhi salam before, with changes or differences in the legislation and the Sharia. But the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his way, whether the Quran or the Sunnah, will remain the same until the day of judgment. Barakallahu fikum, and thank you, brother. Brother Abzal Bakos says, doesn't the word inshallah contradict the power of Allah? Because it is obvious that it will happen if Allah wills. This is why I do not say inshallah. Am I correct? No, you're not correct. Rather, you're confused. Number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us in the Quran, in Surah Al-Kahf, after a long story. He says, وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. Then, وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. Don't you ever say to anything that I shall do it. غَدًا does not literally means tomorrow, because غَدًا in the dictionary means tomorrow. Not necessarily. غَدًا any for the more, anything that happens in the future. A few minutes from now. Don't say, I'm going to do this, except by saying, Insha'Allah, if Allah wills. Because what if Allah doesn't will? Then you fail to do it. Okay? And this ayah has a reason behind its revelation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Nasir from the KSA.
Yes.
Naam. Go ahead, Brother Nasir, I hear you.
Yes. I would like to ask, I'm 12 years old. Am I allowed to keep a beard?
Do you already have a beard? You're 12 years old, mashallah. I grew a beard when I was 16 or 17, maybe 18.
Yes.
You already have a beard. Okay, Nasir, thank you so much. MashaAllah, if you do, now my kids would say that I would like to have a beard too. If you have a beard, you should keep it. It is not that you're allowed to keep it. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, A'ful liha. Don't touch your beards. Leave the beard alone. And trim the mustache. Okay? But the beard in many ahadith indicated that it's a must to grow the beard for men. Barakallah feek. And that means you're already an adult, grown up, or baligh. Abzal, for saying insha'Allah, it's a must. It is not optional. And the reason, because the Prophet ﷺ said when he was asked by Quraysh a few questions, he said, I will answer you, and he forgot to say insha'Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. And if you forget, then also remember and say insha'Allah even after you forget. And remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala much. It is only dislike to say in your dua, Oh Allah, forgive me if you will. Do not say if you will in the dua, because you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's very obvious. If He wills, He will give you. If He doesn't, He will not. And He will give you something else, because a dua would definitely be answered if you're sincere in your dua and you're making dua while eating from halal. Then your dua will be answered sooner or later. If it does not answer by delivering your wish, it will be answered in another way where Allah will block an evil from reaching you or bad from happening to you, and so on. But insha'Allah is a must to be said prior to planning or promising or vowing or saying, I will do anything in the future, whether it's far away or near future. Insha'Allah, brothers and sisters, hope to see you tomorrow. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance and in your deen